Hi everyone, welcome to our data science class. My name is Krish Bala and currently I'm a junior at Doherty Valley High School. And I'm really excited, to start working with all the students and start teaching them all the data science fundamentals. So this is the first of two videos that I'll be sending out for any newcomers and for students that have already been attending. So you can, catch up and keep learning stuff in the curriculum. So let me get started. I'll take us to our slideshow for week one. Yeah, so we gave some introductions for all the students who attended in week one. So had some icebreakers as well. So I'll just go over a quick summary of this course. There's going to be four parts. So it's going to be data collecting, data cleaning slash graphs, Python fundamentals, and data science. So currently we're in the data collecting portion of the program. And during this part, students actually get to collect data through surveys and other means of collecting data, and they get to send this to their peers at school. So, for example, a student, could come up with a topic and they would go send this Google form in their English class, and their English class would go ahead and fill out that survey and they would get that data. So I would teach them how to, correctly collect data and send it to people and find, a sample in a population and learn a lot of terms relating to data collecting. And, I'll talk more about the other parts of the course as we move along. You can still see the curriculum, which I can send out and is in the Slack channel. So yeah, and I might be making a Google Classroom as well. So yeah, so let me go to the next slide. So, what exactly is data? Data is just a form of information, that we can collect through any means. It could be through surveys, through direct observation, through measurements. There's different types of data. So I'll talk about the different types of data on the next slide. So there's two categories of data. One is qualitative data and one is quantitative. So I like to start off with qualitative. Um, Nominal qualitative data it has no order. It's like, think of it as just a word. It could be like, the types of snacks in your house. So like if you have Oreos or like Ritz crackers or like, your favorite colors like red, blue, green, or, like another example would be like the brand car you have, like, Honda, Toyota, something like that. In ordinal, it's more ordered. So there's always a scale. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but in surveys, there's these options: strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. That has an order, a specific order. Unlike the other one, nominal, it has a specific order because you can rank these options in a way. So that's what would be considered ordinal. For quantitative data, there's two types as well. The first one is continuous. This is data that can be measured. So the example that's given is distance traveled by Ironman. Another example could be, distance traveled by a car or distance walked by a person, going to school. The other type of quantitative data is discrete. This is data that can be counted. So obviously the example is a number of baskets a player makes. Another good example could be like, you know, a test score or something like that because you're counting the number of points. That's a good example. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me through the Google Classroom. I'll actually create a Google Classroom instead of the Slack channel since we have more students now. So yeah, and lastly, we usually calculate most of our statistics with quantitative data. Quantitative data is more numbers. So let me say this one more time. Qualitative data is more like words, and quantitative data is more pertaining to numbers. So we're going to be working more with numbers. So we're going to be usually calculating statistics with numbers, but we can also count the frequency. This is a new word, maybe to some of you. Frequency is how often something occurs. So we'll also be using how often, like qualitative data occurs. So like, let's say, um, like 5 people in your school say, they love the color blue, okay, and the other 6 people say they like red. So we're going to be counting the frequency. The frequency would be 5 people like blue and 6 people like red. That's it. So, those type of numbers as well. So let me move on to the next slide. So let me just give a summary of what data collection exactly is. It's also on the side, but you can collect data through observation, measurements, surveys, studies, and through history as well. You are the conductor of your data collection. So that's a good term to know. Whenever you're collecting data, you are a conductor. You are collecting the data, so you are the conductor. A population is a group of people that has a feature you want to study. So an example of this would be if you wanted to study people with brown hair, let's say, for example, that would be a population, right? In the entire world, there's a lot of people with, brown hair. And that would be a special feature that you're trying to target. Those are people you're trying to study. So that would be a population. Now, we're also going to learn about what a sample is. A sample is different from a population. It's very similar, but if in the world there's so many people with brown hair, obviously, right? But you can't go and count every single person with brown hair. That's not possible. So you have to take a sample. So instead of counting the number of people who have brown hair in the entire US, you could do it like the number of people who have brown hair in your school. So like, for example, like some of you might go to Windermere Ranch Middle School, so you can count the number of people who have brown hair in Windermere Ranch Middle School instead of number of people who have brown hair in the entire US. And that's what a sample is. A sample is like a portion of a population. Just think of it like as just a small part of a population in a way. And a population is a group of people, or this was actually brought up in the last class. It can even be animals. It doesn't have to be people. But it has a feature that you want to study. So let me move on to the next slide. So we might be learning more types of graphs than just these ones, but for now, these are the 4 basic ones. So as you can see, there's a pie chart right here. Pie charts are usually used when we have percentages. So let me use the color example again. So let's say 4 people like red, 5 people like blue, and 6 people like green. Okay. So what you can do is you can add up those numbers, get a total. So 4 plus 5 plus 6, that is 15, right? So what happens is you can come up with a proportion for each category. So for the color red, you could say 4 over 15. For I believe it was blue, you could say 5 over 15. And for green, you can say 6 over 15. So that's when you can create a pie chart. You can see each of these are like slices. You can think of it like that. So obviously there's 5 different sizes here. This is just a picture I got from the internet, but you can see there's slices here. So in our example, you know, I'll change it up a bit. This could be, green, this could be blue, this could be red, this could be purple, this could be yellow. It's just different slices. You have to think about it as fractions. I'm sure everyone has learned about fractions. It's much like a fraction. It's just like a pizza slice, it's just a fraction. And that's how we're going to be thinking about pie charts from this point on. There's also line charts. Most of the time with line charts, we're gonna have time on the x-axis. So let me just introduce this. I'm sure everyone has learned this, but the vertical axis is called the y-axis and the horizontal axis is called the x-axis. Most of the time on the horizontal axis, we're going to be having time, but sometimes we can put other variables like months, sorry, not just months. We can put like other categorical variables. Like we can even put like colors, and we can have different types of data here, like the number of people who liked that certain color, and we can have a line graph. But most of the time we're going to have time on this x-axis. So that's just good to know for now. I'll be going over this one a little bit later. It is a little bit more complicated than a pie chart, I would say. um Here we have a bar chart. So this is pretty simple. Actually, and they gave an example with colors in this one as well. So look at this. So number of people who like red is about 8. I know that's really small to see. I'm really sorry about that. Number of people who like blue is 7. The number of people who like green is 5. The number of people who like yellow is 9. And the number of people who like pink is 6. So you can see like, the number of people who like each color, it's listed here and you can see the frequency. I was talking about that before on this slide. You can see the frequency, right? Well, that frequency is distributed on this bar chart. And we'll also be learning about what a histogram is later. A histogram is a special type of bar chart that also counts frequency, but that's for later. Just for now, I just want you guys to know the basic types of graphs. And lastly, I want to talk about a scatter plot. So scatter plot is, in a way, it's kind of like a line plot. This one, it's kind of like that, except there's no lines connecting it. But scatter plot is often used for bigger amounts of data, especially when you have, like, sales points, something like that. Just you have to think about it as more data being collected. Scatter plot is when you have like more and more data and you want to plot it over time or you want to plot it over some other categorical variable. I'll be talking about these graphs a little bit more later, but just I want you guys to know the basics. I just want you guys to know what they are. You don't need to know like, you know, every advanced thing about it. Just know just know what they are. Um, Okay, so I'm just gonna show you guys a quick application and quick demonstration of what you guys are gonna be doing, later on into this course. So let me show that quickly. Uh, yeah, so this is a coding language called R, and I'll just be showing like a quick demonstration of what our students will be learning later on. So let me just code something really quickly and try to guess what type of plot this is. I'll tell you when to pause the video and you can try to guess what type of plot this is. Okay, so let me code this quickly. Uh, yeah. I just got this link from my terminal, so which is like a directory system in your computer. It's like a place where your files all have an address, basically. The files on your computer. So like if you've ever opened up a PDF, that PDF has an address on your computer, just like that. I'm opening up a file called a file type called CSV. So I'll show what a CSV kind of looks like. So 1 second. Actually, let me show that right now. So just so this is kind of what a CSV file looks like. It's just like a table basically. So the table is plain and boring, but like you can't tell that much from this. So let me show you guys something cool. And you know what? Let's see. This might give it away, but let's see. Run this and let's see how this works. Okay, so what do you guys think this plot is? Just pause for a second. Let's see. Okay, so this is a line plot. As we learned in the slideshow. You can see I didn't actually use time as the x-axis here. I used different variables. But you can see though, like, it's different points connected by a line. So it's a line plot. And as you can see here, the y-axis is the temperature, the x-axis has the cities, and there's also a legend here for the seasons. So each season has its own line on this graph, which is kind of cool. So let's say, for example, let's say this winter one. So that's this line right here. Obviously, winter has the coldest temperatures. I think, it's kind of obvious, right? But you can see like even on this graph, it's easier to see that trend now, right? Like you can see that winter has the lowest one and summer has the highest temperatures. So look at this, winter has the lowest temperatures for the entire plot, but Chicago has the lowest, Dallas has, relatively high, but look at Honolulu at 80 degrees. And for summer, look at this. It's for Dallas, it's like way above, way above 90-ish. So, it's like you can see all these cool trends, and that's what data science is and data visualization. So, let me move on to the next slide. And this is just a quick application, by the way. This is something that you'll be learning later on. So, don't worry about this right now. This is advanced stuff. You're going to be learning this at the end of the course, most likely. So, yeah. One second. I'm not sure if I said this before, but we are going to be doing a research project where we will be using surveys to collect data, and then we'll be analyzing it on Excel. We'll also be learning Python fundamentals later so we can graph data on other tools and learn more cool terms. So, so the thing is, I just coded that graph in R, which is another programming language. But there's a way we can also do it in Python, but this is something we'll see later on in the course. For now, I want to focus on the data collecting and also learning how to use Excel. We can do all the programming stuff later into the course, and based on preference, we can choose that later on. But I want all students to start thinking about possible research topics. Like, look at these ones. Like, do people buy or cook food more? Preference of school lunch. I know everyone is eating school lunch this year. Researching which sports students play at your school. I want everyone to come up with, 3 to 5 creative ideas, just like these ones, or even better, come up with something really unique. And I want everyone to have this by next meeting. I'll send out more information on this. But in what we're going to be doing, I said this before, you're going to be creating a survey and you're going to be sending it to classes in your school. So, in your math class, you're going to ask your teacher, can I send this survey to my entire class? And the class is going to fill out that survey. And once they fill out that survey, you'll get all that data and you can use that data, to create graphs like I just did. So, and in my next video, I'll be teaching how to create graphs on Excel. So after finishing this homework, please go to the next week's assignment and slash video. Once you watch that video, there'll be an assignment at the end. So for any newcomers, you're gonna have 2 assignments to do by this Sunday at 10 a.m. So yeah, so it's nice meeting any newcomers, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.